Doom.
Doom
came out.
on
This is
Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
I believe.
Friday the 13th, of course. So this came out on the tails of Uncharted, which launched
on the
earlier
10th.
in that week.
Yep.
And there was a little bit of hubbub about it because Bethesda didn't send out review codes.
Yeah, that was weird, dude.
Until the day of.
Very,
or
very weird.
I don't even know if they did.
Dude, I think
People
the
may have
game
needed to buy it.
I think
day
the game
one.
was released for like 2 or 3 days before Metacritic scores started popping up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually publications have at least a week to play through a game, and they didn't have that here. There was speculation about why they weren't confident in it. There was some negative feedback from the beta, the multiplayer beta. There were a lot of people that weren't too keen on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this game came out, and it ended up being really, really good. The single-player campaign, anyway. That's what I'm going to mostly talk about here, because I wasn't too impressed with the multiplayer either. And, yeah, it's just, like, super fast-paced, like, extremely gory. Like, you're ripping demons apart constantly. And the way that they do kind of, like, homage to the original games, but also make this, like, a unique thing coming out today, because you couldn't really do that gameplay today. It's kind of stale. They tried a little bit of they mixed it up a little bit with Doom 3. They made it kind of like almost like a survival game.
Dude, that's what people. Yeah, I guess that was more like they tried to go in a horror-ish direction for that one.
It was definitely a lot more horror. You had a flashlight. You were like crawling through vents. I think a lot of it had to do with the tech at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think they could put a whole lot of creatures on screen at the same time, because that was like a revolutionary game in terms of 3D graphics. Like there was like, oh, you have to get your brand new graphics card. That's kind of like the start of like NVIDIA and AMD kind of dominating the graphics card world. So this game comes out, and I guess it's at the very beginning of the game, so if you're a little bit sensitive to spoilers, you could probably skip ahead about 30 seconds here. But so you start this game waking up in a sarcophagus, chained down, and you're the Doom guy. You're the guy from the original Doom that's been locked away in this sarcophagus. And you wake up, and you immediately pick up a gun and start killing demons. And you activate this door to open it up, and there's this hologram, and it turns out that you're like being worshipped as a god in this world.
Yeah. Really?
This is like the lore they've built. Like this lore didn't actually exist. They've made it for this game. And then you go into the next room, and you get the actual Doom armor. They actually call your character the Doom Marine. And they lean into it so hard. The first, I'd say, about 10 minutes of this game is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Especially if you've had any connection to like the previous games.
Because they throw you right into the mix, pretty much, right?
Yeah, they throw you right in. There's no like hesitation. It's full on balls to the wall action right from the start. There's this sequence where like a late title card comes up, and this metal music is playing because that's like the aesthetic for the game. And like they even go so far as to like have you cock your shotgun in tune with the music. So like the music ends, and then he goes with the shotgun. And it's just like,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it just leans into it so hard. They nailed it with like just having that metal feeling to the entire game. Everything with the game, like pentagrams and the devil and all this stuff, is like all totally like in that vein, and they nailed it in that respect, I think. There's these things called glory kills, which a lot of people were a little bit worried about because it seemed like may have made the game a little bit too easy, because basically what you do is you shoot a enemy and he starts flashing.
Yeah.
And this gives you the indication that you can go in for a melee kill, which is an instant kill.
Yeah.
And if you pull it off, you get health.
Yeah, that's how you get your health back, right?
Right.
Yeah, because there's no regenerating, which I appreciate.
So that's the main thing. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to make the game too easy. This isn't Doom, blah, blah, blah. And but what it ends up doing is kind of like taking an old mechanic, which is picking up health packs,
Yeah.
and bringing it into a modern setting where if you were going around hunting around for health packs all the time,
Yeah.
it would be a much slower game.
True.
Because you'd have to be like running away from combat instead of getting right up in there.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going for. They want you to be right in the heart of the combat all the time.
Yep.
And I didn't find that it actually made the game all that easy. This game's pretty hard, especially if you play it on the higher difficulties.
I think the only thing I heard about glory kills was they kind of lose their luster after so long.
Yeah, they get a little repetitious.
Yeah.
Because there are... So if normally you're going to be attacking them straight on. So you're going to get the same one over and over again, which is usually like you grab an imp's head and you rip it apart and they're dead. But if you like attack from behind, you get a different animation. So all of the enemies have I'd say 5 or 6 different kill animations.
Yeah.
So you can even attack their leg. Like there's one guy that when he's stunned, if you look at his leg, if you point at his head and hit the melee attack,
yep.
you grab his leg, you snap it off, and then smash it right into his face, his foot, right into his face.
Damn.
So that one's one of the funnier animations. It's just it's not. I mean, it's extremely violent and gory and everything.
Yeah.
It's not funny or anything like that, but it's just a little tongue in cheek, just fucking eat your foot.
Well, I heard even when you when you use your chainsaw and stuff, the gore and stuff will stay on the saw for so long and.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's different. How do you make a chainsaw in this futuristic setting matter when you got guns and chain guns and stuff like that? But actually what you do is you have fuel for the chainsaw that you pick up along the way.
Yeah, you can't use it. You can't overuse it.
Yeah,
right?
it's not like the other games where you have a ton of ammo. You can't just keep using it over and over again. But what it does is if you use it on an enemy, they just spill out all of this ammunition.
Yep.
So if you go up to them and you don't have to get them in the stun state like with the other melee attack. You just go right up to them, and the bigger the enemy, the more ammo you get, but also the more chainsaw fuel you need. So you'll go after a huge mancubus, and you'll cut him in half, and you'll get all this ammunition, refill all of your guns, and then you're back into it with your guns. So ammunition.
So it goes back and forth.
Yeah, the ammunition is kind of sparse.
Yeah.
So you don't reload in this game.
I was going to say there's no reloading. I thought you didn't have to worry about ammo really.
No, you have to worry about ammo.
Okay.
Ammo is actually
it's just not reloading,
sparse.
then.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's just reloading. So that's something that modern shooter fans are going to have to get used to. If you don't have to keep hitting the X button or on PlayStation Square. Reload. You don't have to reload constantly.
Is it what was I? Is it the? Oh man, I lost my. Keep going, Ryan. Okay. I lost my train of thought.
So yeah, you can't.
I had a good one too.
You have you can have all of the weapons at the same time. It isn't like Halo or something or Call of Duty where you can only have 2 guns at the same time. You can
Wolfenstein, you get all your stuff at once.
Yeah, a full arsenal. But you don't have a ton of ammo.
That's what it was. Isn't one of your guns at least? You don't have to worry about ammo; it just recharges or something.
Yeah, the pistol. The pistol is infinite ammo, but it's a pea shooter.
Yeah.
Once you get into it.
Isn't that the only one you can aim down sights with too?
It's kind of like aim down sights. It zooms in, but it's actually like a charge shot.
Okay.
So it charges up, and then it's a stronger shot. But so actually, there's just to cover the ammunition thing. Like for instance, the plasma rifle, your maximum, you can upgrade this along the way, but your maximum is 150 shots.
Yep.
So when you're out of that, and then you can switch to a different gun, and eventually in a big fight, you could run out of ammo.
Yeah.
So then the balance is you take out your chainsaw, take out a big guy, refill all of your guns, and then you're back into it with your other weapons.
Yeah, it's a good way to keep things switched up so you don't overuse or keep using one weapon constantly.
It took me a little while to get to the flow of it.
Yeah.
You're not always thinking, the way that it does the combat is quite a bit different.
Yeah.
So it's not like a traditional... Usually you just be like, oh, there's some ammo over there. Run over there and grab it. Now it's I can stay in this fight and murder this guy and get all my ammos refilled and everything like that.
Yeah.
So another thing with the weapons is you get upgrades along the way. Most of the guns, almost all of them, have 2 trees that you can upgrade. For instance, the assault rifle, you have a sight upgrade. So you can put a long scope on it that's accurate at long range. So that's another weapon that's aimed down sights.
So they give you a couple little things here and there to aim down sights.
Yeah. So you can go that way, or you can do these mini missiles that lock on to the enemies. So they don't really do a whole lot of damage, but you could take out like a mess of weak enemies with it, or kind of keep pounding on a big enemy.
Yep.
And then like there's a super shotgun that actually is the only one that isn't. There are upgrades to it, but there isn't any modifications.
Yeah.
And that's like a chrome-plated double-barrel shotgun that doesn't fit at all with any of the other guns because all the other ones are futuristic and everything like that. But it's like a throwback
Can't
to
beat
the
a shotgun.
Yeah. Seriously,
dude,
that's
I love
exactly
games that
it's...
emphasize
He's surgical
shotguns,
with that thing.
Yeah.
Shotguns don't get enough love in certain games.
I do have a question for you. You're talking
Yeah.
about all these weapons and kills and everything. What do you think about the unique type kills when you come up on an enemy and you do like these melee type kills? And I'm looking at this and like you pull the skull from something and shove it down its throat.
So like the glory kills.
Yeah, that's the glory kills that I was talking about before. That gives you a little bit of ammo. I mean, a little bit of health when you perform those. So you shoot the guys and they get into the stagger state. They're flashing, and then you do the melee kill, and he does this like animation where he's murdering them in some horrific way.
But you actually enjoy this? I mean, I'm seeing. I haven't got an opportunity to play this game, but visually it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
But as I've discussed with you before, I was told it was kind of the same game, just with better graphics.
What's that? Same game
Doom,
as what?
just
Same as what? Yeah.
it's same as the original. The other versions of Doom that came out.
I don't think so. I mean, it plays a lot. It straddles
Smoother?
that line with being like taking the old mechanics and modernizing them, and also doing its own thing. I mean, the combat is fast paced like the original Doom was, but you're doing a lot more. You're climbing on things. There's a verticality to all of the encounters, and you're of course balancing between I'll use this weapon, but then I got to use this weapon on this enemy because I need to stun him because this like the pulse rifle has this. One of the modifications is a stun. So you can shoot it at a big enemy that's giving you a hard time, or like a Hell Knight that's jumping around the map and chasing you. Stun him for a minute. That gives you a second to go over here and take out some of the imps that are harassing you with their fireballs. Take them out, and then by that time, maybe the Hell Knight is recovered, and then you can take out like your rocket launcher and start pounding that. It's just this quickness to it that you don't get in like Call of Duty or even Halo.
Yeah.
Halo's gotten a little bit faster, but it's still not. It's not the same. It reminds me a lot of Titanfall, and that's why Titanfall to me was a breath of fresh air because of the speed that the combat went at. Like the speed, you were always running. You're always running in this game. There's no sprint. You're always moving at the speed of a sprint.
And what kind of difficulty were you playing at when you were playing it is my question. I mean, you're talking about a really fast-paced game. Now, if you're playing at like a normal difficulty, what's it say when it's on like the hardest difficulty?
Yeah, no, it gets really fucking hard when you turn it up. There's, they do the Wolfenstein thing where they name their difficulties like funny things. Like the one I'm playing on is Hurt Me Plenty, which is like the middle difficulty. There's Ultra Violence, which is the next one up. And then there's an unlockable one that's called Ultra Nightmare. In Ultra Nightmare, you have one death. If you die, you have to restart the game. Yeah. So it's Ultra Violence, the same difficulty as that, but you only have one life.
Isn't there a mode where like if enemies respawn after a certain time too? I know that was like in the old games. I don't know if the highest.
No, there hasn't been any respawning enemies.
Okay.
It's definitely an encounter-based game.
Yeah.
So like you go into, there's some areas where you're walking around and you'll find some randos, but most of the time you'll go into an area and you can tell like, all right, this is going to be an arena, and then things start spawning in, and you have to deal with them. There's like these hell nests. I think it's called gore nests or something like that. That you go up to them and you like rip out the center of them and they disintegrate, and then that triggers a big spawn of enemies. So that's going to be a fight.
Gotcha.
Damn.
So
No, Sai's still here.
One of the things that actually makes this even more unique in terms of separating it from like the previous games is the way that it handles like exploration. So I originally thought that this was going to be a big issue because I saw some early demos where they were like, you go up to this computer and you unlock the location of all the secrets. And I'm like, what the fuck is that about? Like, that's the fun of these games. Like, going back in Doom and finding all the Easter eggs and all the secrets and stuff like that. Why would you unlock them all? But it turns out that knowing where they are doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get them. Because the actual challenge is navigating the environment to find out how you're supposed to get up there. Okay. And because there's this added mobility of like mantling up on things and they still have key cards. Yeah, like that's one of the throwbacks to the original games was like you got to get your yellow key card and your blue key card, but they don't lean heavily into it. It's just like something that prevents you from getting through. Getting to the next level. But yeah, I found exploring the areas, because I mean they look great for one thing. The backgrounds are beautiful, like it looks like a Hell Mars scape, that's for sure. And figuring out how to get in there, you're like, I can see it, I can see the upgrade on the other side, my suit upgrade, but I can't get to it. Like, do I get to it now, or am I going to loop back around and get to it then? Yeah. And then when you get to that moment, you're like, oh, that's how you do it. I just found that to be pretty entertaining throughout. It just kind of breaks up the constant action and gives you something else to focus on.
Yeah, no, it's
because it rewards you for exploration. So if you find all the secrets, you get an extra weapon upgrade. Oh, okay. Because like you put on these modifications, but then each modification can be upgraded. Yeah. Same thing with your suit. You can like get better.
Yeah, I knew there was some kind of upgrade things going on.
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit of upgrading in it. Like you get these special orbs that allow you to permanently increase your maximum health, your maximum ammunition. But then there are other suit upgrades that give you like better sensors to pick up secrets that are closer to you. There's one that actually pulses the HUD, the compass, whenever you're close to something. So you're like, I know something's here, but where is it? Is it above me? Is it below me? And then there's the kind of ridiculous story that isn't, I mean, this isn't like Uncharted level storytelling or anything like that, but they do a good job of making it at least interesting. So like there's this big complex on Mars that opens up this rift into hell that is where they're extracting this energy. Yeah. That's basically keeping Earth alive in this like future where they've far exceeded their energy consumption and production goals and everything like that. And it went bad. There's this crazy scientist lady that's kind of like doing manipulations on people, like employees that are turning them into possessed and things like that. Of course. But then there are also the real hellspawn from hell that are coming through portals, and like the character models are pretty cool. Like you can tell that these guys were once human, but then there are these other guys that are right next to them that you can tell are totally
just creatures.
Yeah, complete monsters and stuff like that. I think it's like it's kind of a relief when it came out, because what the hell could you do with a Doom in 2016?
Yeah, no, you're right.
With sure. id not being
definitely
with id not being what they used to be,
to make it not so outdated, Ryan. I think that's the real question.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Bethesda, not the same developer, but they did with Wolfenstein.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people I've heard comparisons to Wolfenstein a lot.
Yeah. It's like
just a lot more faster paced, because Wolfenstein had a lot of slow moments.
Yeah,
like, this is
it's way faster paced than Wolfenstein. Yeah. It's not the story isn't as heavy as Wolfenstein was, but it was just like, but what they did with Wolfenstein, kind of like bring a really, really old game into modern setting, is the same thing that they just did with Doom. They made it relevant today.
Yeah, which is always applauded to me.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what they do with Quake.
Hey man, if they pulled it up, see if they can go for 3 for 3.
Yeah, because Quake has way more nostalgia for me than Doom did. does or did or ever did.
Hey, Bethesda's making some kind of announcement like at E3. So.
Yeah, they got to have something
All
because
right,
they have a
Fallout
whole
5.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
That's all size waiting
a whole
for.
hour long.
There's talk about
presentation.
another Elder Scrolls, so I mean,
Dude, I heard it's gonna be a Skyrim/Oblivion remastered collection. That's what I've heard, but maybe a new one.
I
too.
was told that it was going to be Elder Scrolls 6. I mean,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean that would be the next thing, but I don't know if they'd announce it this soon after Fallout. Usually they wait a
it
little
would
while.
be okay too, but it doesn't mean that it'll come out next year.
Yeah.
And I mean, what they did with Fallout seemed to work in their favor by announcing it like 6 months before launch.
Yeah, no, that was really smart.
That was a long time after Skyrim came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a really long time. So I don't know. They got to have something up their sleeve because Dishonored 2 isn't gonna. They're not gonna be able to show that for a whole hour.
No, they definitely have some. They got
Something
some
up
surprises.
their sleeve. Yeah. Good on them for having it not leak ahead of time because that seems to be the way everything goes these days.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions for Doom before we wrap it up?
No, Ryan, just that now I might actually have to play something for June that I haven't already played yet. So,
Yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Well, I thought you were still
Yeah,
working on the
I mean-
Division, Si.
what's up, dude?
I thought you were still working on the Division.
I've kind of.
Yeah, I think every
Yeah,
I
yeah,
stopped with
yeah.
that
It's what
game.
it's what I'm gonna trade it in for, Drew. Wow.
player stats
Yeah.
seem to indicate that a lot of people may not be playing the Division like they used to.
No, I'm definitely
Yeah.
not.
They when they did the first big update with that game, they kind of ruined it. And it just people are cheating way too much in that game, and
Yeah.
it kind of took away from the fun.
Sounds like the additional content didn't really do anything for anybody either.
No,
No,
it
not
was too
really.
easy to.
Sometimes you get it right
It's
the
too
first
easy.
time.
Yeah. So you gonna pick up Doom Red?
I'm questionable on it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. The way you're describing it sounds a lot of fun. But I'm on that fence.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence.
Honestly, I think I don't know about for $60 necessarily.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, the single player is phenomenal.
I feel like a
But,
$40
yeah.
would feel better.
You're
Yeah.
paying for the multiplayer, which is extremely generic.
Yeah.
Very Halo, Call of
Yeah.
Duty.
Well, I
And
guess it
then-
was
Yeah.
made by one of the
Yeah, it
devs
was.
that worked on Halo.
Yeah, it
or-
was made
yeah.
by a second studio. It
Yeah.
wasn't made by id.
Yeah, so
but,
if you want the id experience,
And then there's the
obviously-
Snap Map, which is
Oh, yeah.
this like level creation toolkit, which doesn't seem to be too robust at the moment.
Or
Snap
poppin'.
Map.
Yeah.
Snap Map. Just fun to say Snap Map.
Snap Map.
But they say that they're going to keep adding to that.
Yep.
So that's probably where they're going to be, like adding mods and Steam Workshop stuff and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say get it used or wait for a sale for $40 or something like that, because that single player is just, especially if you're a first person shooter fan, it's exactly what you want from Doom in 2016, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you've definitely piqued my interest, dude. So
Yeah, it's definitely sounds interesting, but like I said, I'm on the fence. It's kind of got my interest, but I don't. Like I said, I guess as Drew was saying, $60 doesn't seem like it right now.
you've just really got to be into that kind of gameplay. I feel like to really, because there's nothing,
I like stories more than
Yeah.
just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
we're
it's
done,
no
you know,
Bioshock
thing.
or
Yeah.
anything, but
But
Yeah, the story's not great, but it is there. They did try to do something with it, and it's more like it's very much tongue in cheek than it is like this is a serious Doom story.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hell on
Yeah.
Mars, kind of like what they did with Doom 3. They were very serious about that game, but this time around they kind of went silly with it.
and I
didn't even talk too much about the music. The fucking ripping guitars that play while you're like the action builds up.
Yep.
It's just
Get you pumped.
best soundtrack to action that I've played in a game.
Yeah, I was watching some of the videos going through it, and I have to say I like the music that's being played through the game. It's definitely something very interesting to have going on in the background. I think a lot of games lack that sometimes. Where
Usually it's more like traditional orchestra or
well,
orchestral soundtracks.
we've been talking a lot about The Witcher 3, and like the problem with the music on that is it gets repetitive when you get around certain areas, and it's like, for the love of God, skip track.
The action music is very repetitive.
Yeah, so I mean, this seems very robust and, like you said, very different when you come up into different things and so forth.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Red.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cy.
Always a pleasure, Ryan.
Have a good one.
Cy Cuddy.